Hello, Ashley. This is Ford C-Max 101 with your cousin B. So, when you get into the car, in order to turn on the car with the engine, you depress the brake, hold it down, and then push the ignition. Then you'll see this little green moving car looking symbol that designates that the car is ready to drive. And that's how you know the car is on, because you're not going to know that it's on otherwise, because it doesn't make any fucking sound. It's really quiet. So here to the left, you have your headlight. It's set to auto, but if you ever need to turn it on, it's just the one to the left. So it's always set to auto. Come back here to the steering wheel. You have selector buttons on each side of the steering wheel. Those control the little mini screens that you have. So these mini screens you can do a couple things with. You can do your navigation, you can answer phone calls, you can check out little efficiency leaves that tell you how efficient you're driving based on how many leaves are on the car. Over here on the left side, it tells you the little mini game kind of thing for what your miles per gallon are, average, trip duration, all that kind of stuff, how many miles until you're on empty. The blue indicators let you know that you're in electric vehicle mode, which means anytime it's running blue on the rev limiter, you're running on electric and you're not using any gas. When it's white, it's fuel, and you'll know that designated by the white fuel and the blue battery gauge. You're smart, you know these things. Down here, you have your cruise control, turning it on, set up and down, cancel, reset. And then over here, you have your stuff for your voice command. So you can pull this towards you.
Please say a command.
And that bitch is going to talk until you give her a thing. And you just ignore her or say whatever you want to say. And then you have your controls for your...
Try saying a device name like phone or USB.
How about try telling you to be quiet? And so you can turn this on or off. You can adjust volume for tracks or for your call, switching tracks, and then answer call or cancel call. Here in the middle, you have your shifter. This little button on this side is if you're going downhill, like if you're going down Johnson's or something like that and you don't want to use the brakes a lot, push this so that will use the engine braking system. Also, to let you know about the brakes, they're a little bit different. So it's a regen braking system. So when you brake, it recharges the lithium battery for the car. So the brakes may feel touchy to you. And when you drive, when you brake, there's going to be a little indicator over here that's going to go and spin and tell you how much percentage of the braking energy was used to recharge the battery. So that's kind of cool. But just so you know, just make sure that you're familiar with the fact that the brakes are a little bit touchier because they're a regen braking system. Here you have your, do this in reverse, keep the e-brake on. Yeah, okay. Also, the car beeps. I'll let you know about that now. So when you're too close to something or within proximity of possibly bumping into it, it gives you beeps. It does that when you're driving. It also lets you know if you're stopped at a red light and someone's really close to your ass and it keeps beeping, or if it flatlines, they're way too close. So it's kind of helpful. It's also helpful for getting used to the size of the car, so that way you actually know how close you are. Okay, so air conditioning. You have your power button, turns it on. I normally just press the auto button, so it'll turn it on to AC, and then you can turn it down. You've got your knobs up top to control the airflow coming in, yada yada. You also have this cool one right here, which is really nice for the legs. If it gets too warm while you're driving, this feels great, especially in the hot desert sun, I found. All your controls, these buttons right here, these two specifically, don't fuck with those buttons. These are for the automated park assist and for the parallel parking thing that this does, because this car will park itself parallel, but I haven't had time to figure it out yet, and it's really scary when you do it because the car moves by itself and I don't like it so much. So please don't push those buttons or try to use that feature. If you need to parallel park, do it like a big girl. This is for the trunk release in the back. An important thing to know is you do not need to lift the gate at any point or push the gate down, and I'll show you that in just a second. So, this thing we'll go over in a minute. Also, you heard that honk. If you get out of the car and you have the keys on you, the car will still run because there's no key in the ignition, and it's going to honk at you to tell you that the car is still running so that you don't forget about that. So when you come over here, there's a couple ways you can open up the trunk. There is a soft button that you can push right here. You can use the trunk release on the key fob, which is a double press right there. Or if you have your hands full, you can also do this. It has a sensor underneath the bumper. You step back a little bit, you wave your foot underneath, and you step out of the way, and then that bitch opens up. So this is what I mean is you don't actually have to lift this at all, and please don't manually lift this or push it down, because it's solely run off of a hydraulic system that is already run off of an engine or off of a motor. So when you want to close it, you can do the foot thing again if you want to, or you push this button and it will close itself. So again, don't manually do it up or down. In the back, there's all the trunk space, yada yada. Again, it honks to tell you that you still have the keys on you. Getting out of the car, when you want to turn the car off, you just push this, it'll turn the engine off. But the car will beep at you and honk at you to let you know that the car is still on if you have the keys with you. So just so you know that, it reminds you. So, coming over here, this is the infotainment system. So this is confusing only when you first start to use it. It's actually really simple once you take a few minutes to get to know it. So you can connect a phone. It has mine saved on there as Wizard. You can add your phone on there for Bluetooth connecting. It's going to ask if you want it to import your contacts and read your messages. That's up to you if you want it to, because this will read your text messages to you if you need it. So you don't necessarily have to do that. So you've got all these cool little buttons and stuff. It's touchscreen, and a lot of this stuff can be controlled by the right hand control with this side menu here. So this controls a lot of those same functions on the menu. So if you want to go to your navigation, you can see the compass, or you can actually press the arrow button over and see your previous destinations, point of interest, all this kind of stuff. So connecting a phone is there. Sound system is in red. So when you turn it on, it defaults to FM1. But then you have all these different ways that you can connect to the system. So there's Sirius, which I don't have the subscription for anymore. There's a CD player up here on the top. You can connect USB or you can Bluetooth. So USB is here. So you'll actually, it's hard to see because of the light, but there's two USB ports here. There's also a slot here for an SD card. The SD card is for the navigation system. And if you have like a portable TV thing or whatever you want to connect, you can connect audio and video to here, and guess what? Plays it through there, which is kind of cool. So there's also another 12-volt plug in here. I've noticed, don't leave these plugged in, as it likes to drain the battery passively. So when you're done using these, pull them out. There's also a 12-volt up here. And I haven't played with it too much, but there's also a 110 plug in the back. But I haven't actually messed with that yet, so I don't know if it technically works or not. But it's there. If it gets cold, seat warmers, bitches, that's right. It gets very warm very quickly. So if you decide to use it, just test it on 1. It gets toasty. 2 is hot. 3 is, oh my god. 4 is, what the fuck are you doing? And 5 is, everyone's burning in hell. So just know that you don't need to do much if you're gonna heat up the seats. These bitches get really warm really quickly. Other cool features. Oh yeah, up here you have your sunglasses holder, yada yada. These are because at nighttime you can change the light color of the lights inside of like the cup holders. The side doors have accent lights, the floor, so you can change the coloring of the lights by pushing this and turning them on or off by this knob here. So cool, fun things, I guess. Overhead lights are pretty simple. It's different because there's not one for either side. It just, both of these buttons turn on the one thing. Same thing here. I don't like to mess with those too much because they can be finicky. Back seat, spacious. There's a lot of room in this car for a lot of things. There's a lot of overhead space. I'm going to put all of your information in regards to the insurance and the stuff with the car in here. So, pardon the camera. This is going to have insurance, registration, and then in here is the information that you need for for handling the insurance dispute with me. Thank you very much again for helping me with that. It's very appreciative. If you're not able to do it while I'm gone, it's okay because I can get it done later. But if you're able to do it, that would be even better. So that'll stay put in there. Let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Yeah, so you can also control the air conditioning through here if you want to get super fancy with it. It is dual climate control, so right controls the right, left controls the left, or both. Navigation system works really well. It just takes a moment to input direction. So be patient with it. It works very well. It's a very accurate system. So there's that. Let's see here. I don't have presets, so you can set whatever station you want to whatever. I don't really care. You can go into the options if you want to get really super techie with this thing. There's a lot of options for the stereo system and stuff like that, so feel free to mess around if you want to. There are some cool features on the car, like this. This is a status. This tells you what part of the car is actually being used and where energy is being used from. So if I turn the air conditioning off, this will actually turn off and there's no more power being sent to the climate system. So it's just using the battery for other, which would be the sound system and other electronics, and then the electric motor. So this is kind of cool. When you drive, you can actually see what parts of the car are working. It's just like a little foo-foo feature or whatever, but it's kind of interesting. Turn the air back on. Yeah, the air generally defaults to going on really, really high. So just to let you know, it blasts and it works very well. There's no need to get inside of the engine for anything. All of your oil changes and everything like that are covered through the My Ford service plan, which all will be found in here in the documentation, and that's all done at AutoNation Ford in Valencia. So they do your oil changes, all that kind of stuff for you. It's included in the service agreement that I got. Yeah, they're really good over there at taking care of people, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, so last thing, you have your blinker over here, and then this Rubik's Cube of a thing is for your wipers. So on the back, since we have a hatch technically, there's the back window. So if you push this button up once, it turns on the back wiper. Okay, so just so you know. And if you go up with it again, it just keeps on going. This is where it can get confusing. You push this forward to do the front and you pull it towards you to do the back. And then this thing here does the frequency and duration of the wipers. So there's that. It's fun to try to figure out, and it's also frustrating. So just to give you the heads up on that. Otherwise, I think that pretty much covers it. If you have any other questions, the manual is in there as well. So you can always refer to the manual. It helps. It's very, very convenient. You have all of your standard lock controls, all that kind of stuff in the car. Headlights, all the stuff overhead. Yeah. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy my car for the duration in which you have it. I will send this to you via YouTube, and I love you. Bye, Ash. Bye, Robert. Bye, Lydia.